Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us once again for our weekly media availability with Austin FC head coach Josh Wolff. As always, to indicate that you want to ask a question, please utilize your raised hand feature. We have about 20 minutes and we'll get to as many questions as we can. We will start with Mike Craven from the Statesman. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, curious what the mood is around camp as y'all kind of got back to work this week and just kind of the logistical, I guess, challenges that come with going all the way up to Vancouver.
The mood's good. Again, I think we take an honest look at the game and we look at it in phases and certainly there were some good moments and it went a little awry there, at about the 32nd minute. I mean, we almost scored and then literally the sequence that led after that, the 3 or 4 sequences thereafter were pretty stunning. And we looked about it, we talked about it and responsibilities on the field and just understanding of what's happening when something doesn't go our way and when there is adversity. So, but up until that point, again, we thought it was a pretty good controlled first 25, 30 minutes. We obviously gave them one right off the bat, but settled into the game, got our goal. And then from that point was in a pretty good position. And I think we gave up a shot in the 29th and 31st minute. And then, as I said, it went a little bit goofy there right after Cecilia missed that one chance. And that's just, we got to have better reactions, better response on the field. And, and the game got away from us for a little bit. But we come in, we talk about it. We're very honest and players, speak up and we all take our own responsibility and how we can get better from it. And now we start looking towards Vancouver. And again, it's been a couple good days so far. Tomorrow will be probably our biggest day of the week, knowing that we travel up as well tomorrow. And, it's a difficult little haul, but we'll go up a couple days early. And, Vancouver's a good city, so it'd be good to get up there, get situated and play against another good opponent, physical opponent that's very good on set pieces and has some transition components. So we'll dive into them over the next couple days.
And then we get Musa after you. I'm curious, as a guy who's, changed leagues before, what are those toughest parts that maybe we don't really realize kind of are challenging when you're adjusting to a new league, a new country, and all that goes with it?
Yeah, I think those things are the first thing. The on-field playing is typically the easier part of it. He's a forward, so I think he understands what his job is, to score goals and to be dangerous in front of goal. But the onboarding process of what his role looks like offensively and defensively and, making sure there's a clear understanding. We walked through some of our video with him last week, certainly some of our presentation and animations just to help, bring those ideas to the forefront so that when he gets in, he has an idea of what it looks like. But there's nothing like the game experience and certainly working through some of that in training. So for him, he's getting obviously acclimated off the field a little bit. Kakuta's quite helpful. We have some people that can speak French around here and as much as we can maintain dialogue and contact with them. But it's funny to see in and around the locker room on the field, he is able to communicate with players in some way or another. And that's very typical in soccer. They may not speak the same language all the time, but I think there is just connected ideas. And there's, like I said, there's a few people that speak French, so we're able to, to get our points across. But he seems to be settling in well, got a great personality, very jovial, and he can be a handful in front of goal. And he's shown that in training, and we hope to see that in the games coming forward.
Thanks, Mike. We'll go to Mark Turner with Last Word on Soccer. Mark.
Hey, Coach. I was wondering if you could talk us through the substitutions you made at halftime in the last match and why specifically you made those particular personnel changes.
Yeah, I think obviously the game changed very quickly there at the end of the first half. And I think for us, we knew we were going to have to take a few more risks as far as being man orientated in the back line. So we needed some speed. Julio was doing fine, but again, the disappointing part about the first half is we spent way too long in their half pressing high. And, that was part of the problem. And we talked about that. That's not the idea of how we build pressure. Goal kicks, fair enough. But other than that, it's stability by getting into a mid block, getting more compact. So for whatever reason, our attackers started to drift forward. Thus, our whole line started to drift forward. And that's just not fair to our back line to be held in those spots. You're a slip away or an odd bounce to being in on goal. And their second goal didn't come from that. But again, it puts a lot of stress on the back line. And, obviously we're down 4-1. So bringing on Tejas helped his verticality, his speed, his certainly his physicality as well to help give us some opportunities moving into the attack. But Johan giving us a bit more speed, physicality in dueling and being left one-on-one at the back. And I think Hector again giving us a little bit more balance on the left side. Z was struggling, obviously dealing with the matchup, a little bit with positioning, and we had to make a change. Unfortunately, they get one off the long ball that Julio or that Johan misplays. But again, I think their effectiveness in the second half was pretty clear. Their energy that they brought, and certainly, the opportunities that were created, were good to see, and we capitalized on some of those. But we were certainly going to have to take a few more risks, given what the scoreline was, and those were kind of the thoughts behind it.
That's really helpful, Coach. And in part, you kind of answered this question. All season we've had this focus on offense, not enough goals, right? It kind of was plugging the dam, right? You finally started to get the goals, and it's at the detriment of the defense. And I think maybe you've alluded to that in your previous answer, right? The team were pushing forward, exposing the defense. Is it just a balancing act? Are you just trying to strike that fine balance right now?
Well, I think it is a balancing act. It's on-field game management. I mean, it's tough. And we talk about it in training. We do 11v11s, and those are some of the things we focus on. This isn't intended to be a transition game. We need to high press when that's clear. And those are usually for us, we talk about it being when goal kicks, static situations. And then now getting into a mid block, and mid block is more top of the circle, the half line. And we did it really well against Portland when we got our lead, got our goals. Even if it's 1-1, even if you're down 1-0 or down 2-1, it's okay to get compact and take care of your spaces and not feel this pull to go and now build pressure on their back line or their goalkeeper, because that's Dallas is a team. That's what they wanted you to do, to come out, to make space. And eventually, if you're going to get pressure on a back line and a goalkeeper, you're going to need to bring another guy up. And it's going to be 7 guys up, 3 guys with their 3 against 3 at that. And it's just on a goal kick, you can manage it, but run a play, it gets really challenging. And it's unfair for our back line. And you could see moments it was, it got a little bit questionable there, and they had some chances as well. But when the dam broke, so to speak, it wasn't anything that we couldn't deal with. The second goal, we have plenty of guys to deal with it. And that's, individual mistakes, the pressure on the ball. But for whatever reason, when that second one happened, the next 3 minutes were things that we talked about it on an individual level, leadership level, responsibility level. And it's just got to be better. It's unacceptable. And guys knew that. They could clearly see it. And, we talk about that, and it's just got to get better. And, I think that's, what we're learning right now. We're learning some of our deficiencies as well as a team. And we're going to have to continue to work at it.
Cheers, Coach.
Thanks, Mark. Phil West, go ahead, Phil.
Hey, Josh. Just want to ask, so first of all, just kind of thinking about the last couple of games, we've seen Ring and Pereira and Pochettino all in kind of some flexibility and positioning. So I'm just wondering what kind of insights you've gotten about who's best to deploy where and what situations as a result of the last few matches.
Yeah, I think Pepe did pretty good in this last game. Again, I think Alex, and that allows Alex and Sebastian to be a little bit further up in pockets. And I think Pepe started this game pretty good. And again, given what we thought Dallas was going to look like, we navigated the first couple lines of pressures pretty well. Once we gave up the second goal, it got a little bit, a little bit disconnected. But prior to that, I thought we did a decent job. Tomas came in as a wide guy. He came in as a wide guy against Salt Lake as well, and gave us really good energy, really good speed and power on the outsides. His service is incredibly good. And there is a level of unpredictability about Tomas. He doesn't always stay in the pocket. He doesn't always stay wide. He likes to come low into spots. So incorporating him in areas where he has that ability to do that, but also keeping in mind how we want to play, how we do have a positional element to it. And the good thing is when he's around certain players, I think there's a good understanding. If he orientates to one space, Hector or Diego would now orientate to another space based on the areas that he's taking up. But, that's, it is good and bad because he has this ability to get away from people, to get by people. The individual quality, his service is extremely good. And sometimes we lose the discipline of positioning, but we gain some other things. So it's been a fine balance with him, but I've liked the games that he's come in and he's contributed of late. He's done a really good job. And, Pepe is a young kid. He's learning. He's still learning. and there were some colossal mistakes from positioning and even just response and reaction to plays against Dallas that just can't happen. And, unfortunately he's a young player, so he's taken his lumps with that, and we are as well, but he's also performed pretty well. And, we understand he's a growing player, a developing player, and we're going to continue to encourage him and play him. He needs those minutes. It's valuable to see the success, and it's valuable to learn from some of the mistakes in the errors. And, it's part of the growth and development process. And we just, we'll try to onboard it and correct it as quickly as we can, but there's nothing like games to really showcase what it looks like when it's good and when it's bad. Okay.
One more quick one too, just because I'm curious. Sure. Now, who on the team speaks French?
Alex speaks French. Kakuta speaks French. Davey Arnaud speaks French. We have one of our academy personnel from our academy that comes in for trainings as well. She's more part of our staff at this point to help out with Musa's when we're in presentation, the meetings on field. So there's a few guys which is helpful.
Okay, très bien. Thanks.
Très bien. What jersey we got on there today, Phil? Is that the French?
It is France. Yeah, vintage France jersey again. Yeah, getting ready for Musa.
What happened to the U.S. shirt? We got some qualifiers coming up, man.
Got it for tomorrow.
Perfect. Me too.
Looking good, Phil. We'll go to Chris Bills, the striker. Chris, go ahead.
Thanks, Ryan. Phil took my follow-up there that I was going to ask, but the main thing that I was thinking about was sort of on the theme that Mark was touching on. It seems like you guys have had a few good performances, I think maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the season now, where it feels like it's really something to build on. And then for whatever reason, the next performance, you're not able to do that. What have you been able to diagnose? Is it a mentality thing? Is it being too concentrated on the things that maybe went well last game and forgetting about the things that you've been building to go with that? Or, I guess I'm just throwing out spitballing here at this point, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question. I mean, we haven't gained momentum. We haven't capitalized and captured, that consistency after a good performance. I think that's a clear thing. For me, it's a reminder to me I have to maintain a level of tension with these guys, even though you have a good performance and guys have now contributed. Maintaining a real edge and tension in training, maintaining a real edge and tension in and around the training center before games. I think that's, those are things that we can continue to focus on. You want these guys to enjoy it. And obviously we've had a bit of a roller coaster, so we can't just be down or Debbie's the whole time and come in and grind. We got to build them up. We got to give them, some positivity, some feedback. But even in those good moments, there's still criticism that comes with the performances, and we focus on those things as well. But we try to keep them in a good space and moving along. And it's been disappointing. Again, I've mentioned where you feel like these guys are in a good spot, and training has been good, and the intensity has been good. And then in the game, again, I thought we gave them a goal. We responded really well over the next 25 minutes, and then we get hit in the face again with the second one, and there's a real fall off, and that's disappointing. And then, the second half, the reaction, the response, the intensity, and the desire to go get it and be competitive was certainly clear. And they've got that. They show, our guys work, and they show that all the time. But there's a consistency and a responsibility all the time that's needed. And there's no forgiveness in this league, and there's no time to feel sorry for yourself. And we're still trying to capture that. And again, we've had good moments, we've had bad moments. It's about continuing to get better and make progress, and certainly return to our process. But it's been challenging. But I'd say that's some of the things I think that I've learned now. Certainly in the last couple of times we've had good performances. Is now there needs to be more edginess. There needs to be more tension within the room, within the training, to really get them maybe a bit more on edge about the game coming. But I felt they were in a good place from an intensity standpoint and focus standpoint coming into that game. So as it unfolded and slipped away at the end of the first half, it was a little surprising to us, but it happened, and now we got to learn from it and respond in this next game.
Yeah, and it seemed like Tejas had a really good second half after he came in, and obviously hasn't started the last 2 matches. Yeah. We talked a lot about Cecilio and what happened the last time against Vancouver, but with Tejas, how's he kind of responded to maybe being challenged a bit these last couple of weeks, and how much have you talked to him about that?
Yeah, I mean, I literally just had a good meeting with Tomas. We went through some of his video from the last couple of games, even some of the previous games and some of the actions that we've had. But you're spot on. Salt Lake, he did a fantastic job there. He's come in as a reserve and given added punch in different ways. And we'll certainly make decisions shortly on what this next game looks like. And again, I think his quality is clear. And we got a good result 2 games ago without him being in the lineup. We ran the same group out there, and I think he understood that. But his intensity and his focus in training has been good. And again, I think the times he's come in as a reserve, there's been a good understanding of what the game looks like, and his contributions to that have been pretty solid. I'm going to continue to push him. He's a good player that has his own unique qualities. His service is very good. He has a very good physicality about him. Obviously, coming from Argentina, it's part of that league. And we want to continue to emphasize his ability to arrive in the penalty box and be a threat in and around goal. And he did that well in the last game with service and also with his running. So, it's certainly, I'd say his development again is something that's growing. We do a lot with him to play in pockets and turn in little spaces. He likes to come wide. He likes to come low, which is okay. But I still want him to be a guy that can play in pockets and turn, because he has that ability too. And then he can deliver final balls. And, he's got power and a good shot from distance, but we want to have a bit more consistency to his performance and understanding of how he can help this team.
Thanks. We'll go next to Ben Bear. Ben?
Hi, Josh. I know you said, obviously Musa is, still fitting in within the group and really learning, what's expected of him. But, for the fans over the final 13 games of the season, what do you, reasonably think fans should expect from Musa in terms of, production and just helping out the team?
It's a good question. I mean, obviously he hasn't played any full matches since May 15th. So getting him fit is the priority. And introducing him in the way that we've been, I think getting him some minutes is probably the most responsible and logical way right now. But the sooner we feel he's in a good spot to start a game, we'll certainly put him in there. But it's also getting him to understand, again, both the offensive and the defensive ideas and responsibilities that we have. It would be my fear to put someone out there it's not really clear to him, his role in defending and pressing and when and where and how to do those things. And then offensively, again, coordinating the ideas of our movements, the players around him, his role in those, certain actions, in build up from midfield or even build up from goalie, but certainly in and around goal. We've spent some time with him already with video and in previous games, and certainly some of our game model that we've kind of broken down in video. So it's a learning process, but I hope he gets more minutes going forward. In Vancouver, I expect him to play, and we'll see how many minutes those are. And then going forward, again, the more integrated with our group, the more likely it is that he'll start a game sooner than later.
Thanks,
and yes,
Ben.
hopefully he scores us some goals. That's the goal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We got time for 2 more questions here. First, we'll go to Dennis at Fox 11. Dennis?
Hey, Coach. Along those lines, piggybacking off Ben's question, on Musa's side of it, do you have to temper his expectations in any way? Because I know he's probably heard a lot as far as he's coming here, he's the striker, he's going to save the day kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's also our responsibility to keep those expectations realistic. And, again, it's a 21-year-old, he's a 21-year-old kid coming from the French 2 league, and he's got quality. I got no doubts he can score goals. His physicality, his ability in and around the box is quite good. But he also needs to get fit. He needs to get up to speed with us, and he's gotten some minutes now. He'll continue to get more minutes. We needed a striker desperately. Now he's gotten here, and we got to fit him in the right way, in a responsible way. And we have 13 games left, as they said a second ago, and I expect him to play in all 13 of those. And the sooner we can get him starting, I think that helps his chances for obviously scoring goals. Some of these games are difficult when you come in late, depending on what it looks like. So it would be nice to start him and give him a run, but we got to see him get fit first, so that he can carry that out. There's a lot of work offensively and on the defensive end. So in a responsible way, I want to get him on the field sooner than later, without a doubt. And, he's a forward that can score goals. I got no doubt about that. And the way our team is functioning in and around goal, with creating chances, and certainly Sebastian's introduction and and even Alex and Tomas and Cecilio is, you know, capable of playing in different spots, we'll have quality. We'll score goals. I mean, I'm certainly more optimistic about that now. The way the year started, we weren't able to get goals. We've been able to bang in a few goals of late and continue to create good chances. So get him in front of goal, and I think he will score some goals for us.
Thanks. And with the last question of the day, we will go back to Mike Craven at the Statesman. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, with the Academy coming up, starting things off this weekend, I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on how that's gone and what the cohesion's been like between you guys and the Academy coaches.
It's good. They're around for our trainings often as well. And I have a child that's in the Academy, and, you know, so I spend time around those coaches, watching trainings, talking to them. I'd say we had a much more connected environment prior to the season starting. As the season unfolds, we're quite busy and they're quite busy, but I move around through that space and certainly speak with Juan Lu and Tyson quite often. And it's good to see. Obviously, we've utilized a few of the Academy players last year, and now that we have 17, I expect us to, you know, we're already talking about how we'll utilize some of those players, 11 of them next week, to again help us create situations in our training sessions and bring them into the fold. It's really important. That integration it becomes the lifeblood of your organization. You want these players to feel they have a pathway to the first team, and I think they see it, and I think they feel it. And you know, we have individual plans for players, but I see them in the morning. There's a small group of them that are doing individual work while we're training. So we'll continue to incorporate those players as best we can, the high potential players to come in and help us out in our trainings, whether it's directly with the first team or now playing against us. But it's important, that relationship and that believability that you know, you can create within, from 12-year-olds right up to your U17s is critical. And you've seen it all around the league now. And there's a lot of success stories, not just in the state of Texas, but all throughout our league. And that's something I think this entire organization looks forward to. And you know, our first team has a role in that, and as well as the entire Academy staff.
And then how different is it from like when you came up for American-born players? I mean, I talked to Claudio a little bit about this too. Just how different is that path?
It's night and day. It's not even, I mean, I don't think there was anything remotely like it. We had state team and ODP, and those were kind of our avenues of visibility. But now when you can train alongside a first team or in the first team space to some degree at the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And no matter your age, if and when you're good enough, you come right into that environment. Those things didn't exist when I grew up. You know, I remember being in Chicago and I was 20 years old, and we had Michael Bradley, and we had him out at training with Bob, who was our coach, and Mike McGee was one of the, I mean, those were the only things I remember, but that's a different type of deal, because it is a coach and it is his son, but they were certainly capable of playing, and their introduction to see the game at that speed, at that level, it just transforms them, their mindset and their mentality and their hunger. And that's what you love and you want to see out of the Academy. They can see it Saturday night at the stadium. They can see it Monday through Friday at the training center, and they're right there on the cusp of it. And you want them to see that opportunity. You want them to feel that energy and that support from the Academy staff, but the first team staff as well. And it's there. And when there's players that are good enough, they're coming in. There's no doubt about it. Claudio and I have talked about it, Juan Lu and Tyson, myself. There's no doubt about it. When we've already used a few of them, we'll continue to use more of them going forward. There's no doubt.
Great. Well, thank you so much.